After looking at the 1 class 440, I had the idea to make a video about another tank engine from the Caledonian Railway. This video's topic may be extinct in real life, but all these years later, she is still well known thanks to a certain 00 scale model that I'll discuss later. This is the 264 class 040 tank, otherwise known as the Caley Pug. The original 264 class was designed by Dugald Drummond for shunting duties, with an initial batch of 8 locomotives built in 1885, followed by 2 additional batches of 6 engines each, built in 1889 and 1890. When John F. McIntosh became Chief Mechanical Engineer of the CR, he had more of the little 040s built under his direction, and a total of 14 additional examples would be built across 4 batches between 1895 and 1908, with those engines being designated as the 611 class. The 264/611 class was a successful and long-lasting design, surviving right through the London, Midland and Scottish Railway era and into British Railways from 1948 onwards. These engines had a water capacity of only 800 gallons, or 3,600 litres, and due to their rather limited coal capacity of only 2 metric tonnes, they often ran with a modified 4-wheel wagon that acted as a tender. So in a sense, the Caley Pugs were a bit like a standard gauge equivalent of the George England 040s on the Festiniog Railway. The last example of this class was withdrawn in 1962, but sadly, none of the Caley Pugs have survived into preservation. They may be long gone in real life, but their legacy lives on through the Hornby models. Much like other basic 040 toolings at their disposal, Hornby have put their Caley Pug, whose tooling dates back to 1980, in some rather unusual liveries, and if it hasn't been done yet, I reckon it would be nice to see a reskin pack for TS that includes those fictional liveries. The 264 class is one of Caledonia Works' oldest add-ons, having been released on the 6th of September 2018. All these years later, the Pugs are still available from CW's website for £15. A staggering 27 variants are included in this pack, with detailed differences including stovepipe chimneys and conventional buffers over the existing dumb buffers. As for the livery selection, this is as follows. Caledonian Railway goods black, LMS pre-1927, LMS post-1927, which has a shed code placed unusually high on the smokebox door, 3 variants of BR unlined black, with either Gill Sands lettering, the early crest or late crest, 2 variants of 56025 in a special lined black, and 56025 with the Smokey Joe lettering, just like the iconic Hornby model. Incidentally, the bulled-up variants of 56025 remind me of 65288, an LNER J36 tender engine that got similar embellishments in BR days. I also noticed that 56025 has a completely different whistle from the standard Caley hooter. The 264/611 pack also includes 7 Lucky 7 livery variants for the Pug tender, but unfortunately, this thing doesn't actually affect the in-game locomotive's coal capacity. Thinking back to Smokey Joe, there's a second variant of this thing that has utterly ludicrous physics, so that means that A, you can take her on some sporadic misadventures, and B, she's effectively the steam equivalent of the Super Class 47, if anyone remembers that thing. Given this add-on's age, the lack of newer/more advanced features, such as realistic steam chest simulation, posable sight glasses, scripted tender tank and water level, and fire intensity synchronized with the exhaust beat, is understandable. As for what the Caley Pug does have, this includes Performance Mode, which is toggled with Shift P, animated Stevenson valve gear inside the frames, although it's a bit difficult to see, a customizable headlamp arrangement, with prototypical lamps for each variant, and numerous cab camera views. Curiously, on most variants, you can also hit Ctrl-J to add or remove leaf springs on the running board. This doesn't apply to the special variants of 56025. As for the sounds, these would have mostly been recorded from the preserved 812 class 060 tender engine number 828. Incidentally, the 264/611 class is not the only small 040 saddle tank in CW's range. In the years since 2018, they have also released the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway Class 21 and South Eastern and Chatham Railway number 313. On the topic of little 040s, here's one that I wouldn't mind seeing in TS Classic someday, be it from CW or another developer. When you're driving the 264 class, it's important to remember that these engines have no vacuum or air brakes, only a steam brake by the looks of it, and it has the same keyboard controls as a normal train brake. That's semicolon to release and comma to apply. I also noticed the presence of only one gauge on the footplate, with said gauge being for boiler pressure. I was curious to see just how fast the Caley Pug can go, but wasn't expecting much from an 040 designed for shunting. The test run went from Puriton to Stockland Bristol, on Golden Age Development's Great Western Levels route, and I got the engine up to an absolute top speed of 33.3 miles per hour, which is actually faster than I was expecting. Curiously, the manual doesn't mention an ideal fire mass for the Pug, but I worked it out to be around 720 pounds, or 53% on the F4 HUD, during the test runs for this video. I should add that, when the engine's coasting, it's a good idea to keep the regulator open a little bit to combat the rolling resistance, especially when you're driving the Super Pug. In closing, and despite still not owning a Smokey Joe model of my own, I still consider myself to be a fan of the Caledonian Railway Pug. It would be nice to see a remastered version of the add-on, complete with Locomotion 2.0 scripting, but I'm content with what we've currently got. In the end, I'll give CW's Caledonian Railway 264 class 6.3 out of 10, and if you've stuck around to the end of the video, you win a fictional mouse that lost her fruit when she was on holiday in the Twin Cities. It's mini-appleless.